The only thing that counts is faith expressing itself through love. And if we take that as far as we should, in my opinion, that will get very uncomfortable. But this is a messy religion. Our Savior went out with a bunch of people that would have grossed us out. And he did it on purpose to mess with these people, I think. Let me finish up. He says, you, my brothers and sisters, were called to be free. But do not use your freedom to indulge your flesh. Rather, serve one another humbly in love. For the entire law is fulfilled in keeping this one command: love your neighbor as yourself. If you bite and devour each other, watch out, or you will be destroyed by each other. But do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Golly, that's tempting to make into legalism, isn't it? That's, wow, Paul, you just lay it right out there. And now you're expecting me to not take that and explain why, well, they're doing something for the flesh. It's so tempting to want to take someone else's thing and explain to them why what they're doing is something to indulge the flesh. What's Paul talking about? What's Paul talking about? Do not use your freedom to indulge the flesh. Using your freedom to indulge the flesh. But Paul says literally, I am free to do anything. I'm free to do anything. Anything. Wow, that's a broad brush, Paul. What do you mean? Anything. I am free to do anything within the frame of love. So let me get gross, because I think that when we go to the gross extremes, that's when we go, well, now I see what you're saying. If we go to this extreme, I am free to buy a prostitute. Can you buy a prostitute in love? No, you cannot. No, I mean, I'm not kidding even a little. Can you buy a prostitute in love? No, you cannot. Why can you not? Have you ever looked into this subject? And the folks who are doing this for a living. Somebody said one time, there aren't a lot of little girls at 5 years old who say, I want to grow up to be a prostitute. When we talk about slavery, remember how we started this, talking about slavery? This is short-term slavery. It's just short-term slavery. It could be 5 minutes. It could be 3 days. It could be the rest of their life, because many of these folks are bought and sold like product. And you said, we don't have slavery today. No, we don't have slavery in your face. We have slavery that are buildings full of young ladies and young men who are in those buildings and are not allowed to leave, who have been brought here by other people from their country and stuck in that building, and they are not allowed to go anywhere. It's called white slavery. Why? Because white slavery would offend us. Asian slavery would not offend us in the least. But they're sticking them in these buildings, and they're not allowed to leave. And they are sold like product. Okay, so can you do that in love? Yes.
Well, I think you're right, but I think you're wrong too, because how many people that I know over in the foreign fields that are missionaries that do buy people like, especially young girls that are into this or going into this, buy them to get them out of it, but then they don't use it, so they did buy, trafficking stuff, but they're getting them to get out of it because otherwise they have to stay in it.
I'm going to repeat what you said because it is so awesome and such an awesome comparison. You asked, could we come up with a good one earlier? We just came up with a good one. Okay, so we talk about prostitution, and there's no way you could buy a prostitute in love. And I just went through all these examples of why people think Well, it's her body if she wants to sell it, or his body if they want to sell it, then that's their business. And that's not the point. Sharon makes a point. She says she knows of missionaries who go and buy these young ladies in the mission field. They will go and buy these young ladies so that they can take them to their school and clothe them and feed them and teach them and empower them to become free women or free men. See, if we pulled out something that said, number 1 says, thou shalt not buy a prostitute, and we're legalistic, can't do that. You bought a prostitute, can't do that. If, on the other hand, what would love do is our rule. Love says, let's outsmart them boys. We'll just buy them. We'll just buy those girls, take them over here, and empower them, and go. What would love do? Not what does number 7 say? What would love do? Awesome example, Sharon. That is such an awesome example of the most awful thing. I mean, I'm trying to think of the grossest thing, and there's an example of why that would be. Why that would be true. Why would you, if I take a knife and cut you open, Bob, that's a sin. That would be number 6 or something. All right? But if I'm a doctor and I'm cutting you open to fix your heart, got a good reason now, don't we? Right? So what Paul is telling us very plainly is put away your measuring stick and take out your heart. Look at the stuff this way. Any other comments, questions, thoughts before we hit it?
I was thinking a while ago, Todd was talking about, Paul said do not indulge in the flesh, but that always meant to me that we don't yield to temptation.
Yeah. We don't yield to temptation. And I know just what you mean, and we've gone through this. But the thing that concerns me when we say that outside of the frame of this conversation is temptation to what? Temptation to buy a prostitute? But I don't think, maybe I'll be proven wrong, I don't think that there's any mystery here if you let your heart guide you. I don't think there's any mystery here. I think we make it yielding to temptation. Temptation to what? Sounds like there's me saying that to you. Sounds like I'm saying, so give me another law. And what I'm really saying is I agree with you. Temptation to what then becomes what your heart is measuring. Because you could say, that poor lady at the office, her husband is so mean to her, and he never cares for her, and he never loves her, and he never takes care of her, and he beats her, and he's wrong to her, and he's hateful and all that different stuff. And so I'm going to start taking care of her. Which becomes deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. And now we're in a mess. And you may have said to yourself, what would love do? Well, now you found out what love would do. And at some point, love would say, no, I'm not doing that. So, again, put away your measuring stick, pull out your heart, and that's messy, isn't it? It's very messy when you pull out your heart instead of your measuring stick, because somebody might look at you and say, what you're doing is wrong. Well, you don't really know why I'm doing it. And you don't know how I got here, and you don't know what the motivation is, and you don't know where I'm coming from. So you don't get to choose what my love would do. It gets messy. Let's always err on the side of loving someone and caring for someone. Let's always err on that side.